Did you see somebody was like, this is why you only have 1K subscribers? We're like, we're
I
actually
s
pretty happy with that
yeah,
number.
I saw that. I was like, we're a niche publication. We're not trying to be Joe Rogan here.
Or are we?
Or are we? I mean, what is the limit?
The sky,
Hello.
Harry. The
I don't
sky.
I don't even like the sky as a limit. Let's go beyond the sky. Let's go into space. Boy, I'm giving Montauk a lot of free
You really
publicity.
are.
If listeners, if you want free publicity, I'll take your hat and I'll wear it. Yeah, because nobody wants to see this chrome
Oh,
dome. Ah, at least it's kind of tan.
well, it's an extra light source. So
Yeah. Thank
I'm just
you.
kidding. I love
And this
you.
is, by the way, it's tan and not because of tanner. I just want to make that clear. It's mostly because my one wheel helmet has gaps in it. And
You cut a hole in the top of your one wheel helmet.
You
Yeah.
were on the tan game tip for a while, though, Harry.
yes, yeah, I was, but I don't need it anymore. Hello, Bianca. How are you?
Good morning, Harry.
Thank you for waking up at the crack of dawn to be on our podcast.
It's the nature of living in California.
Yeah.
Ja-
She's coming to us from Japan. Practically. She might as well be. She's closer to Japan than she is to Texas, I think.
You
Maybe
can see
not.
Japan from her backyard.
Maybe.
Jordan, where are you coming from? Did Leslie allow you to have a closet to hole yourself up in?
It's Leslie's birthday today, so
Oh,
we're
for
up at the
God.
lake.
Oh, for God's sakes.
I tried to do it outside, but the wind. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to deal with the wrath of Harry.
Well, you
No.
already are. So
Yeah, you already
No.
are for being in a closet. Leslie strikes me, correct me if I'm wrong, as someone who takes her birthday pretty seriously. Like she'll act like she doesn't want you to take it seriously, but yeah, you know what to do, Jordan.
Birthday, birth week, birth
Right.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing stones. I'm the exact same way. I think we have a copy of Jen's speech at my 50th birthday.
yeah,
I
do.
should have fired you after that.
You begged me to do that. You
just
were
kidding.
like, no, I made the joke. So for listeners who weren't at Harry's 50th birthday, I was like, I'm gonna roast you. And he was like, yes, you must. And I was like, no. Because if I roast you, I'm gonna roast you. And roast him I did. I gave him men's depends at the end of it.
We we do have a video of that floating around somewhere.
Oh, yeah. I think Emily Pennington took it, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there
Wow.
was men's depends and a cane, a sweet cane too.
I still have the cane. Don't worry about that.
You're lying. You lost the cane. There's no way you still have the cane.
I think
you
it
might still
broke,
have the
actually.
Depends. Oh, shit.
I like fell on it and it snapped in half and it almost stabbed me and killed me. Wouldn't you feel bad?
I want my money back.
All right. Let's get down to business because we got business to discuss. Big
Yeah.
business. We've got big business to discuss. And when I say big, I mean the biggest. The biggest beverage company in this galaxy. I don't know about other galaxies, but definitely the biggest one by far in this galaxy has decided to create a separate subsidiary called Tree Beverages to manage and to develop their bev-alc portfolio. And Jen, you and I got to talk to Dan yesterday, and seems like they're kind of eager to keep this separate. He made it a point to say they have separate bank accounts, and separate P&L. So what do you make of that?
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. It sounded from our conversation like it's as much about, doing a little bit more in the bev-alc space with their current partners, Constellation Brown-Forman and Molson Coors, and being able to do a little more themselves in innovation and strategy there, as it is being super buttoned up, to your point about the separate bank accounts and making sure that they adhere to, no slotting fees here and 21 plus messaging. They're going to be part of responsibility.org. And Dan made it very clear to us yesterday that they have no interest in the distribution world at Coke, right? Like, it's like he
Right.
trademarked that phrase. So very different approach from Blue Cloud. But,
Yeah,
it's
because
interesting
they already have one.
Right.
It's called Reyes. I mean,
yeah. Well,
but yeah, it's in stark contrast. What was unsaid was,
Right.
stark contrast, obviously, to PepsiCo and Blue Cloud.
Yeah. Well, those are two main things that were super interesting overarchingly to me. So, we asked him, well, why does Big Soda want to be in bev-alc anyway? And he basically said the alcohol RTD space is about as big as sports drinks or a regular tea, and they think they have a competitive advantage with their, flavor, their abilities to flavor, which is something they do every day, which is interesting. And, he also used the phrase, they've moved past the point of experimentation. So that was also interesting, kind of benchmarking some of the wins they've made with Topo Chico Hard Seltzer being, according to him, a top 3 seltzer, and Simply Spiked, like the number 2 F&B lemonade type thing. And they know Fresca Mixed would be a smaller, a longer build because of the spirits base. And so it can't get as many places as a beer based thing would be. But, it seems like they're in it, and they're in it
to win it.
To win it, Harry.
Well, it definitely is a statement, if nothing else, that they are committed to the space.
Yeah.
And that they want to play in it, and they want to choose which brands they'd like to transition over carefully. He did stress several times that they don't want to be any market confusion about whether these products have alcohol in them or not. And so, but yeah, I thought dedicated to the 3-tier system, no confusion on slotting fees, and definitely wanted to play by industry rules and customs, but also very interested in doing more in the space, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the impression. And I think he agreed to speak at the summit. I don't know if you saw that email this morning. He's like, okay, I'll be there. And I was like, wait, what?
Oh, I did not see that. No, we put him real good on the spot immediately. We were like, so can you speak at the end? Can you speak at the summit? One more thing. It's in San Diego in January.
Jen went in for the kill. I was so pleased. Because I of course didn't even think about it. I'm more thinking about how clever I sounded. But yeah, Jen just went in and said, "You want to speak?" And I was like, "Whoa, yes!" And he didn't say no. And then he sent a cryptic email this morning. You tell me, Jen, after you read it.
Okay.
But anyway, he may be there January 14th through 16th, Del Coronado, San Diego. Be there. Beernet.com. Get your tickets now.
It's gonna be epic.
It's gonna be epic. Gordon, were you going to say something about Coke?
Yeah, I was just going to add that it all seems very timely given the comments to TTB and all the ire, I guess, towards PepsiCo, just kind of putting them in a better spotlight. And another couple things is just why not? Why wouldn't they continue to do this? I mean, I'm not trying to knock them, but it doesn't seem like they're doing a whole lot of heavy lifting. I know Pepsi's playing the long game, but for right now, it seems like Coke is handing over brands, taking a cut. And I don't know who makes the call in the end. Like if a brand's not working, who's going to say, okay, let's kill this?
I can answer that. Coke. Okay. Coke's going to be the only one that pulls any triggers. I agree. I kind of wondered about the timing, if the TTB had played a role in them deciding this. Now, we had kind of an early indicator this was happening because all of our Coke subscribers changed their email addresses to Red Tree Beverages about, I don't know, a month ago. And we made note of it, but we're not going to write news based on people changing their emails, just so you know. And so we kind of had a heads up that something was coming. Of course, Pepsi released their earnings. So anyway, I think it's an interesting development that insofar as Coke is it.
Yeah.
Let's keep the old sayings. It's for a new day. And Coke's the real thing, It's
a real thing. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, I got one other interesting thing he said is they want to keep the number of partners as narrow as possible. So that was interesting, even though it does seem like they definitely want to do more brands. But tangentially, which is one of my favorite words, and I know Harry shudders when I say it because it means I'm about to go on a monologue like he does. Relatedly, because this is all about beyond beer and flavor and the great convergence. And as Jordan knows, because he wrote up Nielsen IQ 4-week trends this week, And Jordan, the way you put the most recent seltzer trends was hilarious. He was like, so seltzer had been hitting a few speed bumps, but in this latest period, it veered off into a wall. I was like, geez, Jordan. But it was hilarious because it's true, because seltzer in the latest four is down around 30%, but year to date, it's only down like low single digits. And so I did, I have a little peanut gallery, and I surveyed them and I was like, well, why isn't hard seltzer doing well anymore? And they both, okay, I'll tell you who my peanut gallery is. Sample size of 3. It's my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, my brother, and 2 of them live in Baltimore and one of them lives in San Antonio. And they used to be huge seltzer drinkers. And they both separately said it's malt liquor, not malt seltzer, not malt based, malt liquor, which has a very sub-premium connotation, right? Where seltzer is supposed to be very premium.
I wonder who's putting that out there. Somebody's got to be giving that message out. And
I think the high noons of the world have done a great job.
I was going to say, it's got to be Gallo.
Look inferior. Yeah. Yeah. And it's resonating and it's working. Right. And so the future's now, all this balls to the Wallsville, great convergence. Coke is like, we can't afford to not be in this. Right. And I think they're right.
Yeah. But with FMBs, I think that has to be probably the hardest space to project success. I mean, you just never know what's going to happen in that category. You look at Twisted Tea, you look at Mike's. I mean, those are brands that you talk to regular people and they think, oh yeah, I'm sure some people drink them. They don't realize how gigantic those brands are. And then there's brands that start off really hot and then they're gone in a year or two.
Yeah.
It is one more thing on Coke. It is funny that with between Constellation and Molson Coors, I'm not sure what the difference is in partnerships there, because they're kind of going through the same network. Constellation, I mean, they're not even producing Fresca Mix for them anymore. That's now New Belgium. Yeah. So I am wondering, if they will continue that relationship, or he said that we're trying to have as few amount of partners as possible. So if Fresca Mix doesn't do well, I'm wondering if that'll be the end of their Constellation partnership.
I did ask him between Molson Coors and Constellation, which one do you hate the most? Which ones irritate you? He did not answer the question.
Yeah.
Good point. And they're spreading the wealth a little bit, kind of picking best in class for each kind of thing. Brown-Forman, and they have no interest in producing or distributing this stuff because that's where you get in the weeds and you can get into trouble. And Coke is a very conservative company. We should note, and for them to even be in beverage alcohol is kind of a big deal for them. So it doesn't surprise me that they're taking an ultra conservative and cautious tone moving forward.
Right. Yeah. So I liked the way that he put it though, because he was just like, these are brands that people are already mixing with alcohol. So let's just take advantage of it.
Right. Yeah. All right. Anchor Brewing closing down after 150 years.
That's crazy. For those who don't know, Wednesday we woke up to the news that legendary Anchor Brewing Company, which was established before the 1900s, one of the oldest craft breweries in the world and, responsible for many craft practices that we still use today, said it would cease operations and liquidate following a combination of challenging economic factors and declining sales since 2016, which again, Sapporo bought them in, was it 2016 or 2017, Jordan?
17.
And so for 85 mil, and they're going to retain an assignee to whom all assets will be assigned and then liquidated. And there's still hope that the buyer will come forward. Got to tell you, I've reached out to a couple of supposed buyers and they've said, nope, not us. Who knows if that's true or not? I cannot imagine that Anchor Brewing just gets tossed by the wayside. That is so sad. Just really crazy. Fritz Maytag is one of the most decorated, beer businessmen, brewers, engineers ever.
Yeah.
Who's itching to do business in San Francisco right now?
Well, I mean, that's one part of it. The other part of it is that Anchor it's not easy to make. They make that and still in open fermenters. And, there's a question on, I don't think Sapporo knew that they brewed in open fermenters when they bought it. They thought they could brew Sapporo there, which they can't. Anchor's hard to ship. That beer should not go further east than Nevada.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't, it's not stable. It's bottles only, which is a shitty package. Nobody wants to drink out of anymore. Since Maytag bought that thing, the rich people have been propping it up. I mean, maybe it is time to pull the sheet on
Dang, Harry, is Sapporo paying you?
No. I mean, it's just, how much money are we going to dump into that thing? How many people have gone broke trying to? It broke Fritz Maytag.
Yeah,
come on. It's an old beer. It's steam. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about steam beer anymore.
At least to whittle it down and use it as a taproom production just to keep
I
the
agree.
brand,
And somebody
right?
will do that.
Somebody
will
They
buy the
have
brand and they'll brew it somewhere else and they'll keep a taproom. Let the pharaohs rest. Don't be breaking into tombs.
Yeah. It is just nostalgia. And it was funny on, Twitter and stuff. I think the general reaction was kind of like you're an old actor passing. It's like, oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
I forgot about Anchor. I'm going to miss the Christmas sale. Come on. And, and they've had union problems as well. And, the Japanese, I'm sure they have Stone now. And, that's a lot more fun for them.
Prettier toy.
I saw
toy.
that David Fonte. Yeah, he wrote a really good piece on Anchor that really gave a comprehensive view of what's happening over there. And of course, Dave always writes from labor's perspective, and and which he should. There is a need to be filled there, and I do feel bad for those folks, but I just don't see anybody buying that as a production brewery to continue to brew Anchor the way it is.
So Bianca, it's time for your legal egality.
There was a lot of legal egality this week. The TTB certainly kept us busy because their public comment period closed. It actually closed Friday, but there was a lag in getting those comments uploaded to their website. And some of our colleagues at WSD had a theory that it's because they were going through the bots before publishing comments. So we really didn't get the bulk of those until about Tuesday. But obviously the main players commented, all the trade orgs commented, the BA and the BI had wildly different comments, kind of unsurprisingly, but they were both very thorough. We had a lot of pages to go through this week.
It sounds like to me that everybody's using the federal government comment period to air their dirty laundry.
Oh, sure.
So it was kind of fun. Great reporting, by the way. And maybe I take too much pleasure in just seeing everybody nitpick each other. Everybody got their shots in, right?
They did. And even Blue Cloud, which we discussed earlier, they had a very short, sweet comments, but basically said that they're being discriminated against as a new entrant, and mainly through legislation in different states. That's they're kind of the unnamed target of that, and so they called that out. And then today, we haven't published it yet, but Bill from Athletic had some really interesting comments from the non-alc perspective, that basically some advertising restrictions have affected non-alc, specifically in states where they are defining beer based on malt content. And that's they're kind of asking for the Fed's help on that, even though that's at the state level. I'm not sure exactly what they could do, but he had some interesting comments, and he did call out kind of some health claims that they want to make. And while he did say, here, let me read it, so I'm not putting words in his mouth. He did say that he does not, or his company doesn't want to antagonize, cannibalize, or belittle the alcohol industry, but he did make some health claims that they're looking to make related to drinking problems and things like that.
Interesting.
And I feel like they haven't done that in the past, right? I mean, that's so it seems like
is that legal?
Yeah, I don't
well, it's not. So,
it's not.
So they're asking the TTB we request the ability to talk honestly and transparently about health benefits of non-alcoholic beer. And in this case, he mentioned speaking about anti-inflammatory benefits of hops from polyphenols, and then
which I've said before myself.
Yeah, it works just as well as CBD.
And minerals and carbohydrates after activity. But he did make some other comments that were a little more hard-nosed about kind of the health of. He's really walking that line.
Yeah.
Because
they don't
want to piss people off,
right.
But it does sound like they're, looking to go in that direction or seeing how far they're going to be allowed to go in that direction. So that was maybe the most interesting thing to me that we haven't heard.
Right. I wonder if he'd get pushback on that from industry people.
Oh, absolutely. You're kidding, right? 100%.
Well, I mean, yes, my initial reaction would be yes. But on the other hand, it positions beer as the healthy alternative, even though it's non-alcoholic beer. So it's, it's kind of gives you a leg up on wine and spirits.
But I guess it depends on the full slate of what he wants to say. Right. Like, what does he want us to say about alcoholic beer? Right. I don't know.
Well, it's full of poison. Yeah. You don't want
he did. We know. Maybe I should look at what he said because I don't want to get myself in a pickle either.
No, you're already in trouble. Bianca, welcome to
Bill's
Team
a really
Trouble.
Nice guy.
We're Team Trouble.
You don't want to feel the wrath of Bill.
Yeah.
Right.
We've already pissed off Fritz Maytag.
I met him. Well, anyways, there were a lot of interesting comments that we were kind of going through. And obviously the process isn't done. There's a webinar on advertising scheduled for next month. And then I'm not quite sure that they've announced kind of next steps in the rulemaking process, but they'll probably be happening this fall.
There was also a lot about digital that they, you know, which I think is probably the area that they're most likely to make any changes in, considering it is such a brave new world in digital since they last updated trade practices in 1995. I'd be shocked if they really updated anything anywhere else.
I think trade practices or category management could be a big shift in digital. If I were GoPuff or Instacart, I'd kind of be shaking in my boots right now because I think that's up for grabs, whether that's legal or not, what they're currently doing, which is advertising on third-party sites. And it is considered currently legal. Some people would disagree. Texas, might disagree with that, certain states. And so whether the TTB goes that way or not could have big implications on home delivery apps. And then resetting shelves, control of the mouse, those type things, I think are also possibly up for grabs. But
like the actual category managers themselves being like AB or
setting the shelf for the retailer, being category captain, those type things that kind of give those category captains a little an edge. And because we keep hearing level the playing field, that's what they want. Make it inclusive, give the small guy access, and those kind of category management practices may not be aligned with that goal.
When I grew up, we learned, I forget which class it was, I guess it was in government, about what is called an unfunded mandate. And this is a very concrete example.
Unfunded mandate. Yep.
So
I love mandates that are unfunded because then they never get done.
All my mandates are unfunded.
So am mine. So am mine.
It was also interesting, the BA's comments about the BA was one of the only in the most recent round to talk about crossover beverages. and the need to kind of, regulate those a little bit differently. So they recommended the TTB establish a record-keeping rule requiring any industry member involved in such crossover products that are not subject to the FAA Act. There's 3 A's in that, guys, in case you're wondering.
It's
to
the
keep
Federal Alcohol Administration Act.
Too many A's.
A lot of A's. A lot of A's.
Yeah.
Nothing we can do about it now. It's in stone.
FA cubed to make available to TTB all records concerning its activities with retailers, blah, blah, blah. And then they also said regulation should mandate that any industry member engaged in such products and non-regulated products to the same retailer require that the persons interfacing with the retailers on the regulated side of the business be segregated from those interfacing on the regulated. So the non-regulated with the regulated be sequestered, basically.
Hence, Red Tree Beverages.
Right, exactly. But it was interesting that the BA was the most thorough to bring this up in their most recent comments to the TTB, especially considering Canarchy is still a Brewers Association top 50 craft brewer, and Boston beer. So
and Coop with Sonic.
Oh yeah,
as well.
Forgot about that one.
Is that still out there?
Yeah, is it?
It's there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they got Tampico, which.
Yep.
But yeah, there are still craft brewers because you're right, Jen. It does seem like something that they push because it would involve larger players, but there's still a good bit of their members participating.
But, hey, don't sit on Bojangles hard iced tea.
Oh, that's doing. I mean, I don't know if it's still doing great.
I think AB sells it, right?
AB kept that one. They got rid of Appalachian Mountain and then held on to that.
They're getting rid of prominent craft brewers, but keeping Bojangles iced tea. All right.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's see where the world is going, and I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of that world. All right. What else do we got? Anything else, Jen?
I think. What do you think, guys? I mean, for a week in July,
midsummer. Yeah.
Oof, it's been busy. There are no dead weeks anymore in the industry. Not since COVID.
No. Earlier this week. Well, like on Tuesday, I was like, God, this is going to be dead. And then all this stuff came in. And so for those of you who just breathlessly check your phone on Wednesday for the Wednesday warehouse and you find it's not there, it's because we knew this Coke news was going to come and, we wanted to wait and have some time. So you're getting it on Friday. Quit your bitching, it's free. Once you start paying for this, maybe we'll have a better schedule.
Unless you want to sponsor it.
Yeah. I don't know if we want sponsors. I'm so bad at it.
Yeah. I don't know if we want extra money. That's really a tough one.
I don't know. Y'all don't want raises, do you? It's not like pricing's up.
Inflation's easing. So.
That's another thing. Beer is still outpacing inflation. Mm-hmm. And I think that may be and also another issue of why beer is struggling. Beer, we do not need to be outpacing general inflation. That's not where beer needs to be. Just FYI. I'm not an economist, but I do have a degree. All right. Well, Biscuit and I have a full weekend planned of solving crimes or preventing them at least. I got new rails and a new tire for my one wheel because I put 1,000 miles on the previous tire. This one's called a slick. It doesn't have a tread, and it rides like a dream, like I'm on a cloud that's on top of a marshmallow, that's on top of a feather bed, that's on top of something else really soft.
Jello.
Yes.
Here we go. Why don't you just start doing ads for One Wheel?
Yeah,
totally. I feel like I already have. Why? Yeah. I mean, where's my check?
Start cashing in.
Yeah. Twitter's going to start paying
creators.
Creators. And we never get more than like 5 likes. So I'm not, we're not going to base y'all's raises on that.
Well, you have to pay for the likes. So
no, we pay for the check mark.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
And we still don't get engagement. We get worse engagement now than we did when we didn't have a check mark. I'm not even kidding. I don't know why we're being shadow banned for some reason. But if it's not politics or some
no thanks.
Tweeting about Coke getting into alcohol doesn't seem to set Twitter on fire.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, you guys are fantastic. You're wonderful. Wonderful. We're killing it. I I'm going to send you a link to our new website wireframes that we're developing. It's going to be so cool. The website, I mean, it's not going to be anything hugely different, but it's just going to look a lot better, and we're going to have everything organized in a better way. So look for that. Also, don't forget, folks, we are just like a week or 2 weeks, a week and a
half,
from the Distributor Productivity Summit, our half-day webinar discussing all things distributor productivity. We want productive distributors out there. So check it out, beernet.com. Get your tickets. And we had a big rush of tickets in the last few days. So I was pleased about that.
Yep.
Maybe y'all will get a raise. I don't know.
Don't tease us like that.
You've certainly mentioned it multiple times this podcast, Harry.
I'm trying to prepare you, Bianca. Prepare you for the worst. And you'll be delighted.
It's all part of the process of working at BeerNet. It's, you get broken. She's breaking you down.
There's a lot of psyops going on over here, Bianca.
Oh, good times.
All right, guys. Well, I want to wish everybody a happy weekend, safe weekend, and hopefully the weather is beautiful all over the country. Don't melt. And we'll catch you next week on Wednesday Warehouse. Take care, guys.
Right. Cheers.